The goal of the video today is to learn to determine the truth values of negations, conjunctions, disjunctions, and represent them using Venn diagrams. First of all, let's start with some vocabulary. The word statement is a sentence that is either true or false. The truth value tells whether that statement is true or false. For example, we could say that Roger Bacon students wear a uniform. It's a sentence and it's either true or false. Note that this either true or false means that it is not an opinion. So I want you to come up with your own example of a statement and write it on the line. Statements can be represented using one letter, such as P, Q, R, S. Those are the common letters that usually represent statements. This statement is a true statement, so the truth value is T for true. Next, we have a negation. A negation is a statement with the opposite meaning and opposite truth value. So it's represented with this symbol. It's a little squiggle before whatever letter your statement is. So this is read by saying not P. So if we want to negate a statement, we add the word not into it. So if we want to negate my example, I would say Roger Bacon students do not wear a uniform. All we have to do is add the word not into our statement. Pause the video and add the word not into your statement from above. Write it down on the line. Since my truth value before was true, the negation is always the opposite. This is false. So Roger Bacon students do not wear a uniform. That's a false statement. Next, we have compound statements. These are two or more statements joined by the word and or the word or. So I need you to come up with another statement and tell its truth value. I'll use a different letter to represent this statement. This time I'll use Q. My statement says, Mrs. Bergman teaches geometry. This is a statement with a truth value. So I write T for truth value. Come up with your own statement now. The next statement type is a conjunction. It's a type of compound statement. So this is a compound statement that uses the word and. The symbol for this is either an arrow pointing up or an upside down U. These statements are only true when both statements are true. What I want you to do is create a compound statement with the word and, so make it a conjunction, by using your two statements P and Q from above. So for example, mine would say, Roger Bacon students wear a uniform and Mrs. Bergman teaches geometry. Now let's think about this. Roger Bacon students wear a uniform. This is a true statement. Mrs. Bergman teaches geometry. This is a true statement. Since both statements are true, the overall truth value is true. A conjunction is only true when both statements are true. Next, we have a disjunction. This is a compound statement that uses the word or. The symbol for a disjunction is an arrow that's pointing down or a capital U. It is true when one of the statements is true. Now I want you to write a disjunction using your two statements from above. This should say or. Sorry about that. Find its truth value. So mine would say Roger Bacon students wear a uniform or Mrs. Bergman teaches geometry. We already said these are both true statements, so since at least one of them is true, overall this disjunction is true. Basically think for an and statement, the first statement and the second statement must be true, whereas for a disjunction, the first statement or the second statement has to be true. Let's do an example together. So this one says, use the following statements to write a compound statement for each conjunction, then find its truth value, explain your reasoning. I already wrote these out because I didn't want to take a ton of time to write them throughout the video, but let's go over them. So P and R, literally all you have to do is write the P statement, so the figure is the triangle, write the word and then write the statement for R. So we have the figure is a triangle and the figure has 3 acute angles. Once you've written the statement, it says then find its truth value. So in order to find the truth value, we need to figure out the truth value of each statement. So the figure is a triangle. This is true. The figure has 3 acute angles. This is false. Notice it has 1, 2 acute angles. However, the third angle is a right angle. Angle 3 on my picture, how I labeled them, is a right angle. So that's false. So since this is a conjunction, I have to say that this is overall false, because in order for a conjunction to be true, both of these statements would have to be true. And it said explain your reasoning, so I'll say false because R is false. You don't need to write out the entire statement here. You can just give the name of the statement. This is kind of all part of your answer, the statement and the reasoning, but I'll circle that part at the end. All right, the next one says Q, and then it has this up arrow, and then remember we read this not R. So remember this up arrow in the middle means and. I remember it because a capital A looks like it could be made into an arrow by erasing that line in the middle. So I know this is Q and R. So I write down statement Q. The figure has 2 congruent sides. Then I write the word and. Then I write statement not R. So remember that would mean statement R, but add the word not in. So, and the figure does not have 3 acute angles. Let's talk about these truth values. The figure has 2 congruent sides. This is true. You can see them marked in the figure. And the figure does not have 3 acute angles. This is also true because we said that R is false. That means not R must be true. So overall, this is true and true. So the whole statement is true because Q and not R are both true. Pause the video and try the example problem below. Here's the answer. Now let's try some disjunctions. This time we'll be using the word or. So the first one says Q or R. So I wrote statement Q, then I wrote the word or, then I wrote statement R. So we have January has only 30 days, or January 1 is the first day of a new year. Let's talk about the truth value. January has only 30 days. This is false. January has 31 days. My husband's birthday is January 31st. That's how I remember. Or January 1 is the first day of a new year. This is true. Since one of these is true, overall the statement is true. Because remember, for a disjunction, only one must be true. So we'll say true because R is true. Next, we have P or Q. Let's talk about the truth value. January is a fall month. This is false. Or January has only 30 days. This is false. Since both are false, we'll say the overall statement is false because P and Q are both false. Remember, one of them would have to be true in order for it to be true. Next, we have not P or R. So I wrote out statement P with a not in the middle. So January is not a fall month. This is true. Or January 1st is the first day of a new year. This is true. So overall, I have true. When at least one of these is true, the overall statement is true for a disjunction. Okay. Next, I want you to pause the video and try the practice problems below. Here are the answers. Here's a quick summary of the concepts that we just went over: negation, conjunction, disjunction. This will be a helpful table for you. Now we're going to talk about Venn diagrams. I'm sure you've seen these before. Let's go over an example. So for example, if we have two statements and a conjunction, we can represent this using a Venn diagram. It says label the Venn diagram with the correct letters P, Q, P and Q, etc. to represent each area. So the girls, it says the student is a girl. This circle represents statement P. The student plays soccer represents statement Q. The overlapping area represents P and Q. The area that is only blue over here where they play soccer but they're not a girl would be Q and not P. Similarly, if they're a girl but they do not play soccer, it would be P and not Q, because they're a girl and they do not play soccer. For the number outside the circle, this represents any student who is not a girl and does not play soccer. So this is not a girl and they do not play soccer. Let's see if we can answer the questions. How many total girls are there at Roger Bacon? So total girls is represented by all of the yellow circle. So we have to add 220 plus 50 to get 270 girls. How many girls play soccer? So this is girls and they play soccer. So this is represented by 50. So 50 students are girls who play soccer. Next, how many soccer players are not girls? So soccer players is Q and not P, because they're not a girl. This is represented by 50. So there are 50 boys soccer players. If they're not a girl, we know it's a boy. Next, how many total students are at Roger Bacon? This we need to add up all the numbers that we see. So we have 220 girls that don't play soccer, plus 50 girls that play soccer, plus 50 other soccer players, plus 200 more kids that don't play soccer and they're not a girl. So let's add these all together. Let's see, we get 420, 520. So 520 students total. Finally, this is the most challenging question. What percentage of girls play soccer? So percentage, we know we'll be doing division. So out of the girls, of means divide. So the total number of girls we said, well, we didn't calculate this yet, but it's everything in the yellow circle. Oh, yes, we did. Part A. So the total number of girls is 270. How many of those girls play soccer? This is part B. 50 girls play soccer. So 50 out of 270. So 50 girls play soccer out of 270 girls total. We'll have to calculate this as a percentage. So remember, to calculate a percentage, you divide out the fraction first to get a decimal, and then you multiply by 100. So if you'd like to do it all in one step, you can. So we have 50 divided by 270. Those zeros can cancel out if you'd like. And you should get about 18.5%. So about 18.5% of all the girls at Roger Bacon play soccer. Okay, your reflection question today is to fill in this, what's called a truth table. Basically, it's telling you that if statement P is true and statement Q is true, what would you get for the truth value of not P? So if statement P is true, what is the truth value of not P? If statement Q is true, what is the truth value of not Q? If P and Q are both true, what's the truth value of P and Q? If they're both true, what's the truth value of P or Q? And so on.